189 countries adopted the United
Can you hear
Nations
the audio?
Millennium Declaration, in which heads of states and governments declared their collective responsibility to promote the principles of human dignity, justice, and equality at the global level for all people on Earth, especially the most vulnerable, including children. And 14 years later, one of the participants of the summit, Russian Federation, launched an armed intervention in a sovereign and independent country, Ukraine. And the war has been going for 10 years. For the past 2 years, a full-scale invasion. Russia is bombing all regions of Ukraine, killing civilians, illegally occupying territories. Entire cities are disappearing from the map. Children suffer enormously. In 2014, the Ukrainian government began to record the first abductions of children and their transfer to the territory of Russia Federation. Then applications were filed with the European Court of Human Rights. Since 2022, the situation has been deteriorating. Reports began to appear that children were being deported from the occupied territories to Russia, to Volgograd, Rostov, Moscow, Belgorod, and Tula regions, under the guise of evacuation, of course. Children are given fake documents and handed over to Russian families. It got worse from there. In addition to the Ukrainian government, the United States is also talking about child abductions. Russia, which has long ignored international law and any other laws, openly declares the deportation of more than 1,200,000 civilians from Ukraine, including more than 200,000 children. In August, it became known that more than 1,000 Ukrainian children who had been illegally taken from occupied Mariupol were given up for adoption in the Krasnodar territory of Russia. More than 300 Ukrainian children were in the queue for adoption and were kept in specialized institutions in the Krasnodar territory. On September 7, 2022, a United Nations spokesperson reported that there were credible allegations that Russian forces were sending Ukrainian children to Russia for adoption as part of a forced deportation program. The US ambassador informed the UN Security Council that more than 1,800 Ukrainian children had been transferred to Russia in July alone. In March 2023, the evidences gathered on the abduction of Ukrainian children gave the International Criminal Court in The Hague the basis to issue an arrest warrant of the Russian President Vladimir Putin and Children's Ombudsman Maria Lvova-Belova. They are accused of being responsible for the illegal deportation of children from the occupied territories of Ukraine to Russia. Lvova-Belova stated that Russia is ready to cooperate in reuniting children with their families and does not recognize the jurisdiction of the International Court of Justice. But in fact, as of May 4, 2023, her government continued to withhold the information. In April 2023, the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe adopted a resolution on the forced deportation of Ukrainian children and adults to Russia, recognizing such actions as a genocide. The PASE also confirms the fact that Ukrainian children were also transferred to the territory of Belarus. We are talking about at least 2,000 children. In September, the European Parliament recognized President Lukashenko as an accomplice to Russian crimes in Ukraine. Maria Lvova-Belova, the Russian Presidential Commissioner for Children's Rights, publicly stated that more than 700 children from Ukraine are in Russia for now, claiming that most of them were accompanied by guardians on the plea of humanitarian action. Ukrainian Ombudsman Dmytro Lubinets suggests that Russia has illegally taken about 150,000 children from Ukraine. His colleague, Ukrainian Parliamentary Commissioner for Children's Rights, Daria Gerasimchuk, put the number at 300,000. There is still no exact confirmed information available. The authorities of the aggressor country have created a system of re-education of deported children to integrate them into Russian society. Russian officials persuade children to forget their homeland and convince that their parents will never come to take them home. The Russian authorities are confident that they can re-educate deported children. The Russian Ministry of Education is the main agency responsible for the stolen Ukrainian children. Since 2022, the Ukrainian government has been putting forward various initiatives to solve this problem. Among them are the Center for the Protection of Children's Rights, the Bring Back UA program, and the Coordination Council for the Protection and Safety of Children. Among the Ukrainian non-governmental organizations that advocate for the return of